Welcome back to Agent Academy. This is Mission 8, Enhancing Prompts with Dataverse Grounding. My name is Scott Durow, and I'm a cloud advocate with Microsoft. In this mission, we're going to be looking at connecting prompts directly to Dataverse so that they can work with live business data instead of hard coding information inside the prompt. We'll look at what Dataverse grounding is, when to use it, how it works under the hood, and then we'll walk through the mission. So what is Dataverse grounding? Grounding is when you give a prompt access to a trusted data source. In our case, that means connecting a custom prompt to one or more Dataverse tables to match against job roles without having the job roles stored statically in the prompt. So how does it work in practice? First, you create your prompt using natural language just as usual. Then you add input parameters and reference the Dataverse tables and columns you want. You define your filtering rules so that the model only receives the records that matter. When the prompt executes, it executes the constructed Dataverse query with the filters, retrieves the data, and then adds it to the prompt context. The model then uses this combined context to generate its response. It's important to consider record retrieval limits, which control how many records Dataverse will return to the prompt. The default is 30 and the maximum is 1,000 across all related tables. Grounding isn't designed for large dataset processing, so you should always filter the data strategically. The more data you send to the model, the higher the token usage, the slower the processing, and the more risk of reducing overall output quality. Also consider the model's context window limits, so smaller, well-shaped datasets are always better. Pick only the tables and columns that you need, describe the schema clearly in your instructions, and give examples, especially if there are nuances in the data structures. Let's walk through the mission. Firstly, we'll enhance our summarized resume multimodal prompt so that it can match candidates to the right job roles using live data. We start by grounding the prompt in Dataverse, connecting to the job roles table and also to the criteria table. Then with grounding enabled, the prompt can always reason over up-to-date information and return structured results that reflect the current active job roles. Let's start by heading over to Power Apps. If we look at the tables for our candidate application system and then open up job roles, we can see all of the job roles that are currently defined. Each job role has related evaluation criteria that describes what we're looking for in a candidate for that role. What we want to do in this mission is ground our prompts on these Dataverse tables, so that when we process the resume, the model can then match it against real job roles and criteria, not just the prompt and its general knowledge. Now let's head back to Copilot Studio. We go to Tools and then open the summarized resume prompt that we created in the previous mission. At the moment, this prompt extracts information from a PDF and then returns structured JSON. So now we're going to enhance it. In addition to the resume PDF and the cover letter instructions, we want this prompt to consider open job roles stored in Dataverse. To do that, we use Dataverse grounding. We select Dataverse as an input source and then choose job roles. Next, we select the specific columns that we want in the model to see. In this case, we include job role number, job title, job description, and then we apply a filter to only see active job roles. This is important. We don't want to ground the prompt on every job role in the system. Instead, we only filter to active job roles. In other scenarios, you could equally filter dynamically based on input parameters, such as a resume number or a department or opportunity number. Next, we include related records. We stay rooted on the job role table and then expand the relationship to evaluation criteria. From there, we select the columns we want to include. This means that the prompt now receives not only job role details, but also the criteria used to assess candidates for each role. It's worth noting the limits here. By default, grounding includes up to 30 records, and it can be increased to a maximum of 1,000. This is not intended for very large datasets. In our case, this worked well because we only have a small number of job roles that are active at any time, but it's important to filter and design your prompts well. With grounding configured, we then add a sample PDF to run a test. When the prompt runs, it queries Dataverse using the filters that we defined, and that data is then merged into the prompt context along with the resume PDF and cover letter instructions. In the output, we see the structured JSON similar to before, but now we also see an additional tab showing the grounded knowledge. This is the Dataverse data that was injected into the prompt to guide the model's reasoning. We save the updated prompt and then we move on to writing this into an agent flow. We go to Agents, select our hiring agent, and then open the application intake agent. Under Tools, we add a new agent flow. This flow will create a job application using both a resume and job role. First, we add a list rows action and name it Get Resume. This looks up the resume using the resume number passed in from the agent. This is the same pattern that we used in the previous mission, and we filter on resume number and return a single record. Next, we add another list rows action called Get Job Role. This time we query the job roles using the job role number provided by the agent. Again, we return a single record. In the production flow, we'd add error handling here, but we're just keeping things simple for this demo. Now we add the core action. We add a create row action in Dataverse and name it Add Application. We select the job application table and then set the candidate lookup using the candidate ID returned earlier, the job role lookup using the ID from the Get Job Role, the resume lookup using the ID from Get Resume, and we set the application date to UTC now. Finally, we define the outputs for the agent flow. Remember, this agent flow creates a deterministic piece of behavior that will always run in the same order, but it has inputs and it has outputs so that the agent can then use it in the way that we ask it to. We return the application number that was created and include a description so that the agent knows exactly what this value represents. The agent will then use this number to perform further actions. We head over to the Overview tab and rename the flow to Create Job Application, add a clear description, and then return to the designer and publish it. Now we wire this flow into the agent. Back in Agents, we select the hiring agent again and open the application intake agent. Go to Tools and then add the Create Job Application agent flow that we just created. We configure it to set the description clearly so that it states that this tool creates a new job application and gives a resume number and a job role number. In the advanced settings, we specify that this tool should only be called when explicitly referenced in the instructions. Next, we update the agent instructions to define when it should be called. We add a post-upload step that says once the user confirms which role they want to apply for, the agent should then run the Create Job Application tool with a selected resume number and job role number. We save and publish the agent, and now let's test it inside Teams. We start a new conversation and say hello to the agent. Then we tell it that we have a new resume and upload a sample PDF. As before, the agent summarizes the resume, but this time it also suggests matching job roles based on the Dataverse grounded prompt. We can see that it recommends 3 roles. We choose one and ask to apply for the Power Automate Specialist role by using its job role number. The agent describes the job application for us, and because the job roles are grounded and the conversation context is preserved, we can then immediately ask to apply for the other suggested roles as well, and the agent will create additional applications. Fantastic, mission accomplished. You now know how to use Dataverse grounding in your prompts and best practices for creating effective Dataverse grounded instructions. That's all for now. Keep experimenting, building, and as always, keep learning. See you in the next mission of Agent Academy.